Welcome to the Buddha Dharma TV. I'm Karen Tan. Namo Buddhaya. Today is Sunday, 26th of January. Yesterday, we had most Venerable Ajahn Brahm of England to deliver a lengthy sermon on relax to the maximum. As you know, he was ordained as a monk in the forest tradition of Northeast Thailand, training under the renowned meditation master Ajahn Chah. Today, Ajahn Brahm is a highly respected spiritual teacher and guide, serving as the abbot of the largest Buddhist monastery in the Southern Hemisphere in Australia. He is the author of several inspirational books. He is also a sought-after speaker. Please welcome Venerable Ajahn Brahm to deliver his sermon on relax to the maximum. And this is the second and the final part of his sermon on the topic. Please welcome Most Venerable Ajahn Brahm.
Do you ever get afraid of giving public talks? Why? It's good fun. When you know how to relax to the max. What else do you love doing, which makes you scared? Even just when you are asked to do something which you haven't done for a long time. On our retreat recently, there's one of the meditation methods which we do, which is called walking meditation. And I said that part of Buddhist teachings, it was supposed to adapt to the culture in which we're in. So many years ago, I developed what I call the Australian method of walking meditation. And I call it, as you would expect, kangaroo walking meditation. And I usually ask somebody to perform the kangaroo walking meditation for me. But none of you retreatants who are on my retreat volunteered. So I had to do it. Yes, what was it like? Is it a scary thing to do? How many of you have seen that before? Put your hand up. And more of you than just... No, I'm not going to ask you. But you're nice and young. Come on. Stand up. Very good. Okay. Now come on. So you've got to be mindful to do walking meditation. So what do? You relax to the max first of all. Are you relaxed?
Yes.
And now you don't walk, you hop. Come on.
Oh.
Yay. And again. Yay. Yay. Very good. Thank you. Why do I even do that? The reason why we do that, thank you by the way. The reason why we do that is sometimes on a meditation retreat when people don't talk to each other, and sometimes there's some days that people find it difficult to be quiet and peaceful and joyful. And in a meditation hall, when people are doing this walking meditation parallel to each other, when one person does the kangaroo hop walking meditation, everybody else in that room just burst out laughing and smiling. It's a wonderful way of sharing some happiness to others. That's the reason why. When you relax to the max and allow yourself to do that, the results are brilliant and beautiful. People actually smile and they enjoy the meditation retreat. You are innovating. Also, what are other things you have to deal with in life which sometimes can be very difficult? Like even when you get married. How many of you get scared when you get married? So what should you do? Sometimes that I have to do marriage blessings for people, and sometimes I blow it. I remember this young lady. She was Thai, and the groom was an Australian. And when they walked in together, this groom was so old. I said, "Oh, you must be the father of No, I'm the future husband." But fortunately, he had a daughter from a previous marriage, and she said, "Oh, well, you're old enough to be the father of the grandfather of that girl you're marrying." But when everyone relaxes to the max, you can share the fun, the joy. Aren't marriages supposed to be fun? At least when it happens, maybe. No. So when you relax, things always go much better. And I can also laugh. That's the thing which I did. I made a big mistake, so I laughed as well. I learned this when I was a school teacher. When you make a mistake and people laugh, you laugh as well. Then people never laugh at you. They only laugh with you. And that was actually very helpful. If you're in the public eye, sitting up here, if I do make a mistake, which I often do, I'll be one of the first ones to laugh. So no one ever laughs at me, they only laugh with me. Now, I don't know, it feels like about the right time to start summing up. Is that right? It's 8:30. How's the time going? Where's my MC?
About 45 minutes now, but we need to talk and go on for another 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay, another 15 minutes of how to relax to the max. What happens when you get sick and get a cancer diagnosis? Do you know how to relax to the max? That means it's a good chance that cancer will come back again. Over in Perth, because I live there, obviously all my stories are from there, that there was a small group, like a cancer support association, which I really looked after and supported for many years. And they've grown over so many years too. And about 10 or 15 years ago, the state government, they managed to find some money to really upgrade it and give it the facilities it really deserved. It's now called Solaris Cancer Care. And at the opening ceremony, this was a multi-million-dollar, maybe $10, $15 million building program just for this voluntary center. And at their building program, they had a grand opening ceremony. And at their opening ceremony, they had 2 VIPs attending. One of the VIPs was the state premier of Western Australia, who'd argued to get the cash to give to this organization. And the second VIP wasn't even a VIP, he was a VIM. You know what VIM means? Thank you, you've got it. That was me. Very important monk. And sometimes I love it when I get invitations which I don't expect. And so I went there and I had a lot of fun. I'm not going to do these big ceremonies unless there's some fun involved. And my fun, you may have seen in the Thai Buddhist tradition, sometimes we do holy water blessings. That's right, with a swish and water. And I said, I will attend to bless the place as long as I can also bless the state premier. So I got permission from his bodyguards to soak him. I don't know why, but I really enjoyed that. But afterwards, I couldn't help but ask the people who organized this, why did you invite me? I'm only a monk. I don't give any donations. But nevertheless, I've been going there right at the moment about 36 years without missing a year. Every year going to give a talk at their place, and then coming over to monastery every year to do some meditation. And I asked why. And they said because when I first went there was one woman, she just had breast cancer. And she had the breast removed, lots of chemotherapy and radiation therapy. Some of you have had that, some of you face that in your life. It is traumatic. But she said to me the first time I went to visit that center, she said, I'm so scared. What would happen if that cancer returned? I don't think I could stand it. And that caused, that stress was causing her huge amounts of suffering. What would happen if it returned? And Ajahn Brahm replied very easily, quickly, what would happen if it never ever returned? She became one of the leaders in that Cancer Support Association. And that's why she said to me, that simple advice, cutting to the core of the problem and not wasting any time, was what solved things for her. And she shared that with so many others. Why is it we always think of the worst things which might happen? Of course, that wasn't just my invention. That was a story by Winnie the Pooh. Sometimes people think, oh, Ajahn Brahm's being silly again. It should be much more refined. It's for people with life-threatening diseases. But it makes so much sense. This was Winnie the Pooh and Piglet returning from Rabbit's house after eating a bit too much. And when they actually were walking home, it was a slow walk home, and a storm started coming up in the forest. And as the wind started blowing stronger and stronger, many branches started being torn off the trees, and many even trees got uprooted. And that's when little Piglet, a small fellow who's always more scared, when he said to Pooh, he said, I don't think I can stand it any longer. I'm so scared. What would happen if a tree fell when we were underneath it? That was a possibility. What would happen if you failed your exams at school? What would happen if they give you a test and find out there is a really bad tumor somewhere? What would happen if? You can keep on going like that. What would happen if? And always you add negative possibilities. So Winnie the Pooh was scared for a moment, and then his natural wisdom came up. And he said to his friend Piglet, what would happen if a tree didn't fall when we were underneath it? Which was far more likely. And that took away Piglet's fear and they walk safely home. That's only a story. But for this lady who was so terrified of getting cancer again, that solved the problem for her. The chances of getting cancer again were very, very small. She'd already beaten one cancer. She was afraid of it coming back. She was never contemplating it not coming back. It never did come back. She told me that. The cancer never came back, but Ajahn Brahm, you came back every year. These are powerful stories. Why do we always think about things we fear with negativity? With what we call the fault-finding mind. Instead of seeing the faults in life, what would happen if, and all these terrible things which happen, what would happen if they never happened? What would happen if you have a nice peaceful life without fear? Have you ever noticed what you're afraid of, you usually make happen? If she was afraid of it coming back and I didn't stop that, just that tension from fear would be likely to cause that cancer to return. Just seeing a more plausible outcome meant that fear just disappeared. And she never got the cancer. And she understood that. She was wise enough. That's why she remembered that story. And basically that saved her from getting cancer again. So these are little things. When you learn how to relax to the max, it can even save your life. When you're scared, the fear makes you so tense, you keep failing in life. Sometimes I wonder, how I managed to survive and become a monk instead of being a young man and getting married. And one of the reasons why, I shouldn't really tell you this unless you really want to find a partner. Sometimes we get afraid, we don't know how to relax and just be ourselves. Sometimes I remember many times, as a young student, you see someone you like, and then you go up to her and ask her, but then you always get your words tied. You're kind of like afraid. And then later on in life, you ask her, she said, yeah, I got my words tied too. Both were really afraid. Both never knew how to relax. Both never knew just how to realize that when you relax to the max, you become much more confident of anything you do in life. And that's one of the reasons why I told some of you during the retreat one of the scariest moments in my life. For you, if somebody asks you what's the scariest moment you've ever had, for me, I've told many people this. There was my, second or third year as a student, one of my friends got married. You know what the punchline is. It's not a joke, it's a true story. But one of my friends, another student, got married. And then at the marriage ceremony, all his friends, myself and my friends, we all went to the marriage ceremony. And after the marriage ceremony, we were just hanging around, all dressed up in nice suits and stuff. I did actually own a suit before I gave it away and got a robe instead. And we were all standing around and just having a discussion, like a stupid discussion like young men do. And the discussion was, who's going to be next? And straight away we pointed at one of our friends, his name was Jeff. He's still alive, and he eventually actually became part of the British civil service and became the consul in Macau. And he speaks perfect Mandarin. So anyway, he's retired now, lives over in the UK. But we all pointed to him, Jeff, he'll be next. And then we looked at him and said, no one would marry him. So then we looked, who's the next candidate? You know who they pointed to? Yeah, me. And so he'll be next. And then they looked at me and said, no, no one would marry him. And there was a girl standing next to me. And she was the one who whispered in my ear, I would. I was so scared. Yes, I've met big snakes and other dangerous animals, tigers and elephants in places like Thailand, but I've never been so scared in my whole life. I even once, I don't know if you've heard this story, I wasn't scared at all at this, that when I was visiting my mother in London, I was giving talks in the Sri Lankan temple close by in Chiswick. And one evening, I left my mother's apartment, walked to the temple, and on the way, I didn't realize that over those years, that some parts of South Acton, that's where my mother lived, and Acton was right next to Chiswick, some parts of that area in London became like sink estates, hotbeds of crime. And I went down the road anyway, and I saw, as I was walking down the road, I saw these hoodlums start congregating. And these were some of these homeless kids, well, maybe homeless, but usually drug addicts, and looking for problems. And I was walking towards them in a bald head and brown robe. And as they started gathering, they looked at me and they started chanting, Buddha, Buddha, Buddha. They were trying to intimidate me. And I don't know if you call me like crazy or like rebellious. I'm not going to get intimidated in the area where I grew up. So I just walked straight towards them. The closer I got, the louder they chanted. And the words got faster and faster. Buddha, 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 Buddha. What would you do? What I did, I don't know why I did this, but I know one TV series I watched in the year before I became a monk was called Kung Fu. I don't know if any of you are old enough my age to remember that. Kung Fu was like this, yes, right, this, he was an American who had learned Kung Fu in China. But anyway, Kung Fu became very popular in the West. How many of you can do Kung Fu? I know I can't. If I could, I'm a pacifist. I'm a monk. I wouldn't hurt anybody. But nevertheless, as I was walking towards these young men, I assumed a Kung Fu pose. I actually did that. Absolutely stupid. I assumed a Kung Fu pose, with not showing any fear at all. Continued walking at the same speed right towards them. Buddha, 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 Buddha. And as I came within striking distance, they parted and let me through. Kung Fu won. And I didn't know anything about Kung Fu. If they'd have hit me, I'd have been dead. But I always remember that. You can only do that when you can relax, you're not afraid, and just have some fun. So that's actually how, when you learn how to relax to the max, you don't show those responses by which, in situations and people do give you a difficult time, even beat you up. I remember even once having stones thrown at me over on Bunbury Beach, that's just south of Perth. All I was doing was sitting meditation. And then getting reasonably quiet, but just starting. And I heard go past my ear. And then another stone go past my ear. And I heard these kids shouting out, "Get off our beach, Rajnishi." There was a Indian guru or something called Sri Rajneesh, and he had said some very terrible words and was actually saying he's going to come to Western Australia to start a temple. And so it was on the news, and they thought I was a Rajneeshi. And another stone came past me. And I realized it was only a matter of time before one of those stones would actually hit me. So I got up. I never ran away. I just turned slowly towards those kids, maybe 13 or 14-year-olds, maybe half a dozen of them or more. I walked towards them, showing no fear. And there was no fear. I don't know why I'm a bit stupid like that. Just be meditating, you don't have fear. And then, as I was walking towards them, they all ran away except for one. And that one, I went straight towards him and said, "Look, I'm not a Rajneeshi, I'm a Buddhist monk." And I explained to him about what Buddhist monks are. And then all the other kids came back and they said, "Sorry, sir, we thought you were one of these Rajneeshi." I said, "Even if I was, it's not right to throw stones at them." And they all agreed. And he gave me a chance to explain what a Buddhist monk is. And I was not hurt at all. Even more dangerous than that, the second most fearful experience I've ever had was up there anyway. Also on Bunbury Beach. I used to go to Bunbury because I was teaching at the prisons in the evening and a free afternoon. And this afternoon, it was a lovely day, a sunny day over in November. And I went to sit, and there was no one on the beach at all. It was totally vacant. I had a wonderful meditation for a couple of hours, just sitting down, really silent. The five senses kind of turn off. And then when I came out of meditation, I got very scared. I could see the corner of my eye. Sitting next to me on the left was this beautiful blonde in a bikini. 17 years old. I've never met her before, and I'll tell you in a moment why I knew she was 17. And on the other side was another girl, beautiful, I think black hair, what's it called, brunette, also in a bikini, 17 years of age. And I was scared. If there was a photographer from Thailand, that was it, I'm dead. How can you explain that? Here's Ajahn Brahm on the beach, sitting next to his two girlfriends. I was totally innocent, because what had happened, there was a high school on the other side of the road where the beach was. And this was the end of the year exams day. And what do people in Australia do? Once they've finished all the exams, they get changed into their bathing costumes and go swimming and playing around on the beach. Only this day, when they finished their exams, they saw this brown-robed, bald-headed guy sitting perfectly still, for quite a long time. And they were just fascinated. Now, how can you sit so still for such a long time? And who are you? This particular time, I decided not to explain what Buddhism was. Because there must have been somebody with cameras, and I didn't want to avoid that at all costs. That time I was not relaxed to the max. But nevertheless, they actually saw that, and they were fascinated, because it's a rare thing to see in this world, someone who's totally peaceful and still. And even when they sit next to you, you don't even know they're there. And I kind of like that story. I really should have said a few words to them. maybe invited them to the temple if they wanted to learn what I was really up to. But sometimes in the West, being a monk, sometimes people don't know how to relate to monks. And so it's so easy to get into to trouble for things like that. Those are just some of the stories. When you relax to the max, that even if you've got sickness, it's much easier to overcome. And it's also not just easier to overcome. I'll just finish with one story. Is that about right? Okay, finish one more story. This was like a chanting story. Because obviously we do lots of blessing chants and healing chants, and actually they do work. I was a Buddhist monk, but before that, I was a theoretical physicist, so I've been trained in not believing anything until you've got pretty solid proof. And so often the chanting which we do can even save lives. Once I got a telephone call, please go to the hospital in the centre of Perth, the old Perth Hospital, into the ICU. There was an elderly gentleman, Chinese descent, was dying. He was in a coma. He didn't have long to live. And the family said, please come straight away. So I rushed to the hospital, went straight into the ICU and did my stuff, the chanting. It worked. He came out of his coma. And I thought, that's kind of miraculous. And I thought, that family are going to be so happy with me. They weren't. They were really upset. They'd already arranged the funeral service. That's how certain it was that he was going to die. And they were really big business people. They come from all parts of Asia, from Taiwan and Hong Kong, I don't know which parts of Asia. They'd taken time off their work, to be with the patriarch, for one last time. And now, because of this Western monk, this Ang Mo, this Kwai Lo, someone said, they'd have to cancel the funeral and go back home. They lost a lot of money, and they'd have to come back later on. He's going to die one day. So they gave no donations. But I learned my lesson. What I learned was, before you do any chanting, always ask, do you want the die peaceful chanting or get better chanting? Do you want your grandfather to relax to the max or get back to work? Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Ajahn Brahm. So let us all say sadhu 3 times, just like how Ajahn Brahm always say.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Ajahn Brahm's signature sadhu. Alright, okay, so thank you very much, Ajahn Brahm, for your very inspiring and witty sharing with us. We all are so captivated by Ajahn Brahm's stories. And I'm sure now we all laugh until we all are relaxed to the max. Yeah. All right, okay. So now let us open the floor to questions. Due to time constraint, I think we may be able to get a maximum of 2 questions for tonight. Oh. So if anyone has any questions, please raise your hand and hopefully we can get this mic to you. Otherwise, all right, we have one question here now.
Good evening, Ajahn.
Good evening.
I'm from University of Malaya and I'm from Buddhist Society, and currently I'm facing one issue is that it's week 12 already for our syllabus, so all the assignment and everything is very stressful for
Stressful?
all of us. So yeah, so I would like to ask Ajahn if there is maybe no time for us to do the meditation to relax ourselves, is there any other possible ways for us to relax? Thank you, Ajahn.
First of all, this idea of relaxing to the max, I've been teaching it a long time, and it's now part of Harvard University's business school advice. They've called it, because of marketing, how to an investment of time. So you invest maybe half an hour of your time to meditate, and you get returns in that investment straight away. An assignment which usually took 2 hours, you do it in an hour and a half, and a higher quality. That's actually true. Don't ever think you haven't got the time. If you've got so many assignments, you can't afford to waste time. That's why it's really important to meditate. And you find all those assignments you can get done so much easier, so much quicker. How many of you ever faced that? You've got to write an email to somebody, and you're really tired. And you're looking at the screen, and just ideas don't come up. You waste so much time. But if you learn how to meditate, and you've meditated properly, not listen to music or fantasize, you really meditate, and then when you come out of meditation, then look at the email. The answers come very quickly. The same, I mentioned to you that I love doing crossword puzzles. And there was one clue which was really difficult. A simple clue in the cryptic crosswords. It was the shape of 101. 4 letters. I doubt if you will get the answer, but when you let go and meditate, and afterwards it might become so clear, the answer just pops up. The shape was cone, C-O-N-E. 101. C is 100 plus O-N-E. Cone. So that's actually how it works. It's not just being intelligent, it's learning how to relax the mind, make it still. With amazing answers come up. So do you want to be a genius? Get straight A's, A triple plus, or whatever you get for your assignments? Yeah, that's how to do it.
Thank you. So meditation is actually an investment.
Yeah.
Guaranteed return of investment, right?
Absolutely. It always has a money back guarantee. It is, and I've told you that many times, and I promise I don't tell lies. If it doesn't work, you can ask for your money back. You never get it, but you can always ask.
Okay. So shall we move on to the next question? Anyone, please raise your hand.
Anyone from downstairs or upstairs?
Oh, there's one over there.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, can you please come forward? Yes, right. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. Thank you so much for the talk. I just wanted to ask, how do you relax to the max when you are easily triggered by someone's reaction or someone's words?
You learn not to be triggered. So, sometimes people trying to find weak points in you. And if they know that weak point, you can trigger easily. Are you married? Oh, okay. If you had a husband, he knows all your weak points. And you allow yourself to be triggered. And it's wonderful if you train yourself deliberately not to be triggered. how you do that if it's someone you expect is going to trigger you. And you, when they're a long distance away, you tell yourself, when my husband or my boss or somebody says this, I will not get upset. When they say this, I will not get upset. When they say this, I will not get upset. You brainwash yourself. It works. You're about to say something and about to get triggered again, and something you remind yourself of how you've been brainwashed by your own suggestions, and you stop. It's very effective. Give it a try. Yeah. But also, sometimes you do that to others as well. So you've got to be careful. This story comes up because I was not married, ever. I was scared. But I remember when I was sent to Australia by Ajahn Chah, there was 2 monks were sent together. There's myself and Ajahn Jakara. He was the senior, and very often he'd be so domineering. But I figured out how to get my own way without him understanding what I was doing. And this I share with you. It can be your boss, it can be your partner. When I wanted to build a hut, like a kuti for monks, I'd be walking with him in the forest and I'd say, it'd be a really good place to build a hut over there. And he would respond, that's a ridiculous idea, it won't work. No, definitely not. Many people would argue. I realized that wouldn't work. I was much smarter than that. And I knew how to outsmart him. I said, okay, yeah, I think you're right. I wouldn't push the issue. I would usually wait about 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks. And we'd be walking again in the forest and I'd repeat that suggestion. It would be a very good idea to build a hut over there. And he would repeat it again. That's a stupid idea, ridiculous, it won't work, no. I had to wait for 2 or 3 weeks, so I didn't remember this was the second time he heard it. And usually 2 times was enough, sometimes 3 times. And then another day I'd be walking with him, and he would say, Ajahn Brahm, I think we should build a hut over there. And I would always say, wow, that's a brilliant idea of yours. So, if you ladies, need a new dress, tell your husband, not now because he remembers what's going on. Another time, you just say to him, I think I need a new dress. And he will say, you've got too many in the closet already, you don't need another dress. You can't afford it. Oh yeah, I understand. And a couple of weeks later, when you think he's forgotten, say it again. I think I could do with a new dress. Say, no. Waste of money. Yeah, you're right. Agree with him. And you'll be surprised how well this works. And subconsciously, the message has gone in. Then after a while, he'll come up to you and say, yeah, I think we need a new dress. I know that somebody here is trying to do this to me. Not to get a dress, but sometimes they keep saying to me when they see me, I think next time you come to Malaysia, you should go to Langkawi. But I know what you're up to. So anyway, that's how it could work. Who's going to have the last laugh? Okay, next question.
Okay, all right. Thanks for sharing the secret, Ajahn Brahm. All right, so one very last question. Anyone?
Thank you for joining.
Hi.
I just want to ask, because recently I had a few relatives who passed away, and there were some differences between their passing as well. So some of them were definitely more like relaxed and brought the family together, but some, one in particular is quite stressed out, and that kind of like fragmented the family a bit. So I'm just wondering, with regards to this topic of relaxing to the max, how do we ensure that at the time of passing we can relax to the max when our companies are?
Okay, first of all, like somebody was telling me even today here. Is she here today? She left the book. Indian lady? No. Anyway, she said she was coming this evening. I think she may be downstairs. But one thing which really works is before your loved ones die, please go to them and say, I give you permission to die, Mummy. This was something which occurred the first time I saw this. It was kind of stunning how well it worked. There's this young couple. He was a white water rafter. She was a nurse. They were both young. And he got a terrible cancer. And I kept on visiting them to get them counseling, to help them chanting and stuff. But his cancer was just so bad that nothing would stop it. What I was surprised was how long it took him to die. Until one day when I visited in the afternoon, and he was just so gaunt and so suffering, and she didn't know what to do. This was her husband. She loved him. He loved her. And so I asked her, have you given your husband permission to die yet? And I never forget the scene. She understood straight away, never needed to explain it. She jumped on the bed and put her hands around his very weak body. I'll give you permission to die. And they cried and hugged. They loved each other. And he died that night. That's all he needed. Imagine that was you. One of the last things you ever want to do is hurt the people you love. But if you know you have permission, it changes everything. So that's one possibility there. The second one is, remember that we all die, and as Buddhists we know we all come back again. So honestly, if you had an old body and it's wearing out, if you've got an old car and it's always just so hard to maintain, wouldn't you exchange it for a new Ferrari? A new one with all the extras? I don't know if you like Ferrari cars. What else would you like? A new electric car. They're very cheap to run. It's much better than the old type of cars. Of course you would like it. Why do people keep their old vehicles, their old bodies? And it's not your choice. It's dying. You know you're going to get a new one. Of course you'd say, you don't be worried. Say, come on, bring it on. If somebody comes along and tells you, if you really understood what was happening, if they come along and tell you you've only got 2 weeks to live, you tell them, only 2 weeks, can't you make it quicker? You're going to get a much better body. I love telling stories like that because it makes a lot of sense. Why are people scared of death? Of dying, yes, because dying, the process is sometimes painful. But death itself is a great relief. Especially if you've got a good insurance policy. You've done lots of good karma. Okay. Change your mind. That was the last question. Okay, anyway. The stereo system is working now. So that's the last question.
Yeah, that was the last question.
Okay. So now what happens?
Ajahn Brahm go first.
Okay. So we're supposed to do the sharing of merits? Okay.
Some announcements.
Announcements first of all. Okay.
Thank you, Ajahn Brahm, for clarifying our doubts. Right, so just a quick announcement. Before we close our session tonight, we'd like to share some announcement with everyone. A gentle reminder that the silent auction for the 5 exclusive Ajahn Brahm figurines and the limited edition of Brahm bag will close soon at 10 p.m. tonight. It's 20 past 9 now, so you still have 40 more minutes to bid for it. So the QR code is actually shown here. You can actually come up front to scan it and place your bids, all for a meritorious cause.
Have we got enough funds yet? If not, we can extend it to 10:30. 11 o'clock?
So,
No, sorry. I'm being naughty.
Request, we shall extend the time.
No, you need a rest.
Yeah, so more people can actually bid for it. Right. If you wish to offer Dhamma Karma to Ajahn Brahm, and any generous donations to support Bodhinyana Monastery and the network of monasteries under the Buddhist Society of Western Australia, you may place your contributions into the donation box at the counters outside. Physical copies of Ajahn Brahm's books are also available at the counters on ground floor as well. Yeah, and also up here.
And there's also another opportunity for those who would like to support the Buddhist Gem Fellowship. So we have got 3 fundraisers going on. The first one is the Chinese New Year cookie fundraisers down there at ground floor. And we are also selling the Relax to the Max Ajahn Brahm t-shirt, available at a donation of only 30 ringgit each. And we have 2 colors, dark blue and as well as light blue. And we also welcome sincere donations of any amount. And BGF also offers a wide range of Dhamma Dutta activities for Dhamma learning and practice. And these activities have positively impacted quite a large audience internationally as well as locally. So, brothers and sisters, if you would like to join us for service or for practice, please sign up as a BGF member during our opening hours, right down there at the ground floor. You may also follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel where we post all our Dhamma activities and Dhamma talks. And you can also sign up for the BGF WhatsApp broadcast. All information are available at the registration counters and sales counters. And once again next year, we are very fortunate to once again have the opportunity to host Ajahn Brahmali's Sutta retreat, as well as Bhante Chunda and Bhante Bodhisattva's meditation retreat here at the Buddhist Jazz Fellowship. The dates will be announced soon. They are in April, so please stay tuned for announcements by following us on social media.
I often told you, promised you, that any of the donations which go over to Australia are for our monk and nun factories. And the produce of those factories get resent over to Malaysia, to the BGF. There are exports and your imports.
Thank you, Ajahn. So I think without any further delay, so let's end tonight's session. We'd like to respectfully invite Ajahn Brahm to lead us in the sharing of merits and meeting of aspirations.
Okay, for the sharing of the merits, it's Idang Me Nyatinang Hotu. Is that the one you should do here still? This is, please think of those loved ones of yours, people you've known and cared for who are no longer here. May they share it.
Now, please join us as we present an inspiring performance by the Wayfarers, filled with songs of joy, peace, and love. It is entitled as The Three Signs. Let their harmonies uplift our spirit and bring hope to our heart.
Dukkha anicca anatta. The leaves are falling fast. The rain of the rose is ended. The sky is overcast. The whole world is filled with sadness. From city and jungle rise the cry of lives, suffering children, the daylight slowly dies. Our Lord looked with love and pity upon every living being, from the lowliest child of nature to the mightiest crown king. For hatred, delusion, passion still claim and enslave us all, and each alike on the wheel of change must suffer, rise and fall. Dukkha anicca anatta. Though every life knows pain, he who faithfully walks the path will not look for help in vain. The law of the Tathagata forever will light the way. It is our moon to shine by night, our sun to illume the day. In Lord Buddha we take our refuge, His law of good our guide, to pilot as we toss and drift on these remorseless tides, with the Dharma's light to steer by. Someday we'll fear rocks no more, but merit one, each will moor his barge on Nirvana's changeless shore.
The Dhammapada is one of the most scarred texts in Buddhism. It shares wisdom about life, enlightenment, and the path of compassion and wisdom, inspiring people around the world. Venerable Bande Sivali has already given 76 short sermons and continues to share his teachings weekly on Buddha Dhamma TV. Please join us in welcoming Bande Sivali to deliver a brief sermon on verse 77 of the Dhammapada.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Welcome to the Dhammapada program of the Buddha Dharma TV. Today we are going to discuss the verse number 77 of the Pandita Vagga, the chapter on the voice. Ovadi anusaseya asabhaja nivare sohi satam pyo hoti asatam apyo hoti. Literal meaning is the wise and good person who reproaches and warns
and prevents a person from getting into antisocial behavior. Is liked by virtuous individuals and disliked by those who are evil. Very clear. The wise and the good person who reproaches and warns and prevents a person from getting into antisocial behavior is liked by virtuous individuals, and disliked by those who are evil, disliked by the evil ones. So the good ones and bad ones. Especially that Ovadi Anusasya, the meaning, literal meaning of this, reproaches and warns. In some commentaries, the distinction between Ovada and Anusasana is carefully established. Reproach, Ovada, is described as telling a person about what is good and what is bad in terms of what has already been done. Telling a person about what is likely to ensue if one did either this or that in the future is referred to as Anusasana. Ovada, Anusasana. Warning, Anusasana is warning. Reproach, Ovada, is made when one is physically present before the reproacher. But if the two persons are not physically present together and one's communications are conveyed to the other, that is described as warning, Anusasana, warning. Again, telling once only is Ovada, reproach. Repeated telling is Anusasana, warning. Asabhach Nivari prevents one from resorting to antisocial action. Make him abstain from antisocial actions. That's a good, noble character of a good friend. It is abstinence from the wrong actions, killing or harming, stealing, and misconduct. It inculcates compassion to all living beings. The taking only of things that are given and living a pure and chaste life. By such moral conduct, one gives others fearlessness, security, and peace. All morality or the good life is founded on love and compassion, metta and karuna. Love, metta. Compassion is karuna. So, all morality or the good life is founded on these two noble qualities. And these two noble qualities cannot be called a man of moral. A person without these two qualities, salient qualities, cannot be called a man of morals. Verbal and physical acts not tinged with love and compassion cannot be regarded as good and wholesome. Surely, one cannot kill, steal, and so forth with thoughts of love and a good conscience. But it can be done only when one is driven by thoughts of quality. greed and ignorance. It is therefore necessary to cultivate a certain measures of mental discipline, because the untamed mind always finds excuses. Untamed mind. Excuses to commit evil in word or deed. When thought is unguarded, bodily action also is unguarded. When the mind is not controlled, your bodily actions are also not controlled and they are unguarded. So, our speech and mental actions. Conduct builds character. Good conduct builds character. No one can bestow the gift of a good character on another. No one can. Each one has to build it up by thought, reflection, care, effort, mindfulness, and introspection. Just as in the mastery of an act, one has to labor hard, practice hard, so to master the art of noble conduct, on which a good and strong character depends. One must be diligent and on the alert. Diligent and on the alert. In the training of character, the first thing necessary is to practice self-control. Self-control. It doesn't come from outside. It has to come within. So self-control is important, necessary, a must. If instead a man gives himself up to ensure pleasures, his good social conduct and character will fall away. On this, all teachers of religion and psychology agree on this point. Those who are intoxicated with pleasures and are driven by the urge to enjoy themselves cannot be properly educated until they have learned to admit their faults. Regarding high moral conduct, the Buddha advised thus. This is the Buddha's advice. Regarding high moral conduct, this is Buddha's advice. What is it? Evil can be abandoned. If it were not possible to give up evil, I would not say so. Since it can be done, I say unto you, give up evil. Just like a mother, loving mother advises his or her loving child. Buddha advises us here like a dear father, like a dear mother. How he advises, evil can be abandoned. If it were not possible to give up evil, I would not say so. Since it can be done, I say unto you, give up evil. The Buddha continues to also say, good can be cultivated. If it were not possible to cultivate good, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't say so. Since it can be done, I say unto you, cultivate the good. Cultivate the good. What advice, full of compassion, love. Buddha advises us like a mother, like a father. Buddha is a mother, Buddha is a father to all of us, full of compassion. Advise us to get rid of bad and get involved in good, and to cultivate the good and give up and abandon the bad. This is the kind of guidance that a good advisor should provide to make a person abstain from unacceptable, immoral and antisocial behavior. Nabhaje papake mitte, nabhaje purusuttame, purusadhame. Nabhaje papake mitte, nabhaje purusadhame. Bhajete mitte kalyane, bhajete purusuttame. This is verse 78. And how nice advice Buddha is giving us. Don't go around with the evil ones, evil friends. With rocks, do not consort. Spend your time, bhajete nitya kalyani. Spend your time with noble friends, good friends, noble friends. Bhajete purusuttame, with worthy ones console. What a beautiful, what a wonderful, what a noble advice Buddha is giving us. Parents who are grown up, please teach this guidance to children. Let them grow up with this kind of teaching, practicing day-to-day life. So that don't go around with evil friends, with rocks, do not consort. Spend your time with noble friends, with worthy ones console. The biggest problem the parents are facing is how to rear their children, loving children, how to conduct them, how to avoid them to go with unwanted friends, evil friends. How to encourage them to get involved with good things, and mix up with the good friends. They're doing their best to train their children, to guide them proper way, and encourage them to associate with good friends and to avoid evil friends. This is very important. If you do not encourage your children to avoid evil friends and to spend with noble friends, to associate with noble friends, this is good advice. Parents should encourage their children when they are at the very tender age of their life. Then they grow up with these noble advices, they will be good, decent children. And parents fail to do that, they are neglecting their most important responsibility. So, do not go around with evil friends. Spend the time with the noble friends, the worthy ones. And it is very important advice from the Buddha. While residing at the Jetavana monastery, Buddha spoke this verse with reference to Venerable Channa. Channa was the attendant who accompanied Prince Siddhartha before he became Prince Siddhartha became a Buddha. Channa was his attendant. When he renounced the world and left the palace on horseback, Channa accompanied Prince Siddhartha. When the Prince Siddhartha attained Buddhahood, Channa also became a monk. As a monk, he was very arrogant and overhearing because of his close connections with the Buddha. Channa used to say, I came alone with my master when he left the palace or the forest. At that time, I was the only companion of my master, and there was no one else. But now Sariputta and Moggallana are saying, he's complaining to the chief disciples of Buddha. We are the chief disciples and are strutting about the place. When Buddha sent for him and admonished him for his behavior, Channa's behavior, he kept silent but continued to abuse and taunt the good two chief disciples. Thus the Buddha sent for him and admonished him 3 times. Still he did not change. And again the Buddha sent for Channa and said, Channa, he advised Buddha. Buddha advised the Channa, his companion when he was Prince Siddhartha. Companion means he was an assistant to Buddha, Prince Siddhartha at the palace. Channa, these 2 noble monks are good friends to you, that is chief disciples. You should associate with them and be on good terms with them. Be on good terms with them. That was Buddha's advice to Channa. In spite of repeated admonitions and advice given by the Buddha, Channa did as he pleased and continued to scold and abuse the monks. Buddha, knowing this, said that Channa would not change during the Buddha's lifetime, but after his demise, Parinibbana, after Buddha's Parinibbana, Channa would surely change. On the eve of his Parinibbana, the Buddha called Venerable Ananda, the chief attendant of the Buddha, to his bedside and instructed him to impose the Brahma punishment, Brahma Danda, that is a rude punishment. Buddha advised, instructed Venerable Ananda to impose this Brahma punishment, Brahma Danda we call, to Channa, for the monks to simply, that means, this Brahma Danda means the resident, other monks, companion, for the monks to simply ignore him and to have nothing to do with him. After the Parinibbana of the Buddha, Channa, learning about the punishment from monks, felt a deep and bitter remorse for having done wrong, and he fainted 3 times once. Then he owned up his guilt to the monks and asked for pardon. From that moment he changed his ways and outlook. He also obeyed their instructions in his meditation practice and soon attained arahanthood. You see, the Buddha imposed Brahma Danda on his former attendant when he was Prince Siddhartha before Buddha. When he left the palace, even Channa accompanied him, of course as assistant, helper. So So Buddha's impose of the punishment is extremely nice, appropriate. Papake mitte nabaje. The Buddha advised, Purusha dhamme nabaje. Kalyana mitte bhajeta, Purisuttame bhajeta. Bad friends, no bhaje, do not associate. Buddha said, wicked evil friend or wicked evil people, na bhaje, don't associate. Don't associate who? Bad friends. Do not associate wicked evil people. Do not keep company with all those wicked and evil friends. Then kalyana mitte, that means associate with worthy friends. Bhajete, associate. Puri suttame, noble superior people. Bhajete, keep company with. Do not associate with people who have evil ways. Avoid the company of wicked, evil people who are mean and bad. Associate with the worthy friends. Keep the company of noble persons who are superior in quality and virtue, and who will be able to elevate you. This is a great advice, and the parents must follow this advice from the Buddha if you want to have beautiful children. To guide them, to direct them, to advise them. Follow this noble advice of the Buddha. Try to convince your children the importance of associating good friends and abandon bad friends and get involved in good things. And there are different types of friends Buddha has explained. But those who apparently only some friends, they are good friends when they get involved in bad things. You cannot consider them good friends. It's papaka mitta, noble, ugly, dirty friends. Therefore, you should abandon them. There are different types of friends Buddha has explained them. A good friend is a kalyana mitta, a benign friend. Papa mitta, malignant friend, is one who leads you to evil. In the Sigalova, the Sutta advised to household Sigala, 8 types of friends are described. You must read the Sigalova, the Sutta. Of these 4 are good friends. 8 types of friends, 4 types of good friends. They are different, who helps you in need, a friend who is ready even to give his life for you, a friend who protects you against evil, a friend who is happy when you make progress and praises those who speak well of you. A friend is keen to profit from you. A vachiparama, a friend who helps only in words. A friend who approves both the good things and the bad things you do. A payasahaya, a friend who leads you to such evil act as taking intoxicating drinks. So you see the 4 types of good friends, 4 types of bad friends. Parents must know these things and encourage your children to mix up, to associate good ones. So the verse number 77 talks about friends, and 78 also talks about friends and different categories of friends. It's good to know these things and be good While you be good, encourage your children to be good, to get involved in good, and to associate, encourage them to associate, and guide them to associate, guide them to mix up with the good friends, and to avoid abandon bad, evil friends. That will be the way for the success, progress of your children, of ours. May you all be well and happy.
Dukkha anicca anatta. The leaves are falling fast. The rain of the rose is ended. The sky is overcast. The whole world is filled with sadness. From city and jungle rise the cry of lives, suffering children, the daylight slowly dies. Our Lord looked at love and pity.
That's all for today. If you have any questions regarding our programs, please don't hesitate to contact us at info@buddhadharmatv.com. Our team is committed to sharing the noble and profound teachings of the Buddha, guiding you on your spiritual journey with his timeless wisdom. Thank you for being with us. See you at the same time next week.